the real detraction to this car is we fixed the minor overheating issue it had on the test drive. That was no problem. The issue we have now is that after driving the car, it's become apparent that there's a pretty serious driveline clunk coming from the back of the car. I'm going to shut up so hopefully you can hear it on the shift. So I'm in first gear right now and watch my shift in a second. Listen for the clunk. So you really hear it coming from the rear end of the car when you lift off the throttle or when you clutch in and shift. You hear thunk, and you can feel, it feels like the whole differential is moving around. I'm guessing one of the diff bushings might be shot. Thunk. Thunk, thunk. Thunk. Yeah, not only is it annoying when you're driving it to hear just constant rear end thunk, but it's also quite nerve-wracking because if a diff bushing is left to its own devices and totally fails, the diff could fall out of the car. That would be very cool. Or being this is an E46, the whole subframe could be flopping around back there. We don't really know. I haven't pushed the car super hard as a result. So let's pull it into the back, get the car jacked up, take the wheels off, and kind of see what's going on with the car. In order to access the drive shaft in this car, you have to remove the exhaust, because the exhaust is in the way of a big heat shield that covers most of the drive shaft. So I spent about 30 minutes dropping the exhaust down from the car. Yep, that's really heavy. That's really heavy. Oh God, oh God. So once I had that out of the way, I was able to take a look around. So the drive shaft looks pretty good. The center support bearing, the CSB, common problem on high mileage cars, looked okay. The drive shaft was installed correctly. I was able to turn it by hand and everything seemed pretty good. So just getting underneath here again. Here is our, so there's 4 points in the rear subframe. Here is one of them. I don't see any appreciable tears in the rear structure here. Here's the other side. Again, it just looks dirty. I don't see any tears or fractures in the sheet metal where the rear subframe bolts up. Let's try the front. All right. Here is the front mounting. Again, the sheet metal looks okay. I mean, it's entirely possible the bushings are just shot, but it doesn't seem as if the chassis has any appreciable damage. Going back to the differential, all the bushings were correctly installed. The differential itself looked okay. The axles looked good. I did notice that the bushings were original, or if they weren't original, they were an OEM type rubber bushing, but they seemed okay nonetheless. So I was a little bit confused because I couldn't see anything visibly wrong with the car. So what I ended up doing was having my roommate get in the car while it was still on jack stands, start it up, and begin to drive the car. So he turned the car on, accelerated it, and went through the gears. So with the car turned on and driving while in the air on jack stands, and me sitting underneath the car, which is a super dangerous thing to do, I was able to find the issue really quickly. So it turns out that it was a differential issue. Specifically, the rear differential bushing was totally shot. Although it looked okay just looking up at it with a flashlight, with the car loaded up, whenever my roommate changed gears, I could see the diff flexing inside the bushing and smacking around, causing the clunking sound. Again, the rear subframe looked okay, which is a great thing for an old E46, so it sounds like the car just needs rear diff pushing. And that leads me into my next round of modifications and maintenance upgrades to this car. So stay tuned for the next episode of Project E46 as I kind of gather my resources and figure out exactly what else we're going to replace in the car in order to get it out on the track and get drifting. Alright, so I need to put the E46 away for the day to go to work. And I'm definitely not putting the exhaust back on since I'm gonna be back under there again working on things. So I'm gonna lower the car down and start it open header. Let me put the camera under the car so you can see how little exhaust there is, but pretty much it's where the manifolds shoot out under the car. That's it. There, those are the collectors for the manifolds. So this is gonna be pretty loud. Oh boy. All right, I've lowered the E46 down, so we're gonna start it up open header. Here we go. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not gonna rev it super high, the motor's still cold. That's like just getting into it at 2,000 RPM. It sounds so good, actually.